Hello, everyone. Renee Funk with the Funk Collection, brokered by eXp Realty. Gretchen Carlson, you're amazing. I am so excited to talk to you today. We used to go live and we used to do video all the time, and it's been embarrassingly a long time.
I know. You're the one that got me comfortable with being on video. It took me a long time to get to that. And now look at you. You've got all kinds of new tools versus just using our cell phones.
Well, so let's share with everyone. You've been kind of busy, a little busy, quite a bit productive in 2020. I am incredibly proud to see your growth and to be a part of your world and your collaborative efforts. To say Jeff and I are grateful is definitely an understatement. Share with everyone what you've been up to in 2020.
Been very busy, but I'm very grateful to have you and Jeff because you've really helped support me and been right along there with me to help me to take my business to another level that I didn't even imagine when I prepared my goals for 2020 about this time last 2019, putting everything together. Never did I imagine that I would blow that away as I did. And I really feel as though I could have done even more if it hadn't been for us getting hit with a pandemic. But even with that, I was still able to help so many families. And it was incredible, the relocation of people still coming here, even during the middle of all of this. And, still people selling their homes, and the real estate market was still very much active. And I think the interest rates helped that. And, people were still looking to make changes and still did. And I think that, the people working from home is changing a lot of the dynamics now. They're looking for different things. Lowe's was always so busy during the pandemic and continues to be because people are spending more time at home with projects. And I think that, that is also contributing to our business. So they're making home improvements, they're making home changes, and they're buying puppies. So
they are. And you touched on a couple really good points that I want to take a deeper dive in. Number one is we know how much adversity and how many challenges the world faced in 2020 with the pandemic. From a professional and business standpoint in the industry, we saw some who felt crippled in fear. Mm-hmm. And we saw some who went into as much of an agile mindset to face the adversity and to get into action to continue to serve customers. Now, some of that is obviously predicated on certain regions were deemed essential as far as real estate. We're in Orlando. We are have always been deemed essential, so we were fully operational all year. When we look at your year, you were able to represent triple the amount of families in 2020 compared to 2019, representing over $11 million in production. There was no wait in your world. You got into action immediately. There was no, I'm going to wait and see. So what advice do you have for agents as far as mindset and coaching to get over that fear and just dive in and get into action?
I didn't know what the year was going to present. So I did, as a real estate coach, I always tell everybody, pick up the phone. And that's pretty much what I did is I just got on the phone and made calls and did a lot of follow-up. And I think, letting everybody out there know that can send me referrals, that I am concentrating on real estate full time and, putting those things into motion that we all need to do to help grow our business. And for the realtors out there, that was, continuing my monthly magazine, starting to do postcards and, getting out just listed and just sold, letting people know that I'm very active in the real estate market. And, some people will say, well, why do I want to send a just listed to somebody that I know that lives up in Longwood in a $900,000 house? Why am I going to send them, you know, a $180,000 house maybe in Kissimmee or Davenport or Claremont. And that's because they might know somebody that's looking in that price point, and they may be looking for investment properties. So it doesn't matter. It's all about keeping them in communication with everything you've got going on. You know, doing handwritten cards to people, picking up the phone. I've started implementing doing birthday cards, which is a lot of fun, you know, using send out cards for that, because I've got horrific handwriting. And, you know, and doing pop-bys, which are one of my absolute favorite things to do, are pop-bys. And getting out there and being able to knock on someone's door and surprise them that you're there and hand them something. And just saying, no, it's great to see you, and moving on to the next person. So I think a lot of those, and it's just doing follow-up, and, you know, keeping up with it.
One of the things you touched on, what you're referencing on the Funk Collection, we call it the Customer Concierge Program. So we have some automations and some service that we provide on the team to help streamline that. But what you touched on is postcards so important. Is I hear oftentimes, especially the last year or two, some realtors will say, I don't want to do postcards. Postcards don't work. We've tripled down. We're with you, Jeff and I. We've tripled down on our postcard mailings with focus and intention on our lists. But talk a little bit about that, because it's not your average farming postcard, right?
Exactly. And that's where I think that a lot of people, their perception of it doesn't work, is that we need to remind people that we know that we are a real estate professional. We are not part-time. We are not here to make extra money and play in the market. You know, we take this serious. This is my full-time focus. You know, agents that take some time to do some further education. You know, several of us on the team are broker associates. We also have our broker's license. And you've got to think about, when you've got your sphere of influence, the purpose of the postcard is to keep reminding them who you are and what you do. And, you know, the National Association of Realtors did a survey, and this was many, many years ago. I don't know what the updated stats are on it, but it's something that has always stuck in my head. And that is, they did an analysis of the nation, and that was, what percentage of people know a real estate agent that they would refer business to? It was only 12%. And I know that number may be higher in today's society, possibly, but out of that 12%, only 8% of them had their phone number. So, you know, I've always remembered that. And so many people that you talk to, they don't even remember who sold them their house. They've never heard from the realtor again, because so many agents out there are not full-time. And that's why I always tell everybody, if you're going to work with a realtor, interview them, vet them, find out how long they've been in the industry, find out if it's their full-time focus, and how involved they are in the community as well as the industry. And I want to make sure that people remember who I am. And it's so often, you know, I'll go by a friend's house and I see my magazine sitting on their table, and it's got my phone number, and it's got my phone number, and they keep these. And that's, you know, that's been one of my big things that I've done over the years, is that magazine. I did that consistently, even when I was coaching and managing. But those postcards are so important. And where they say they don't work is because they do what's called a spray and pray method. And that is, they send it out to a neighborhood once, okay, maybe twice. That doesn't work. If you're going to build, you know, start building a reputation and a relationship with those individuals, it has to be every single month for 1 to 2 years before you're going to really start seeing it. But
that's key, because when agents come to me and they'll say, hey, I'm looking at scaling my business and I want to start to consider postcards, for example, whether it's farming postcards or postcarding your sphere of influence and previous customers, the decision really needs to come down to this: is what is the overall budget that's accessible at the moment? And understand that when someone says postcards don't work, it's critical to identify, well, what was the time investment? How long did you make that investment? Because you are spot on that at minimum, it needs to be 18 months or longer with at least one postcard a month to stay in front of them. Another of our sayings on our team, consistency and good habits, right? Postcards work. I love hearing so many agents, quite frankly, think they don't, because it means the field's a little thinner. And I don't know about you, but I notice in my mailbox, I'm getting a lot less of them. So for those who aren't implementing them into their business plan, which also includes a strategic number of emails and phone calls, pop-bys, all of the ingredients coming together, the postcards have been a huge differentiator in our business.
And they're not like super, super expensive, especially when, you know, you use the First American's tools with FA Prints. For those the agents out there, if you're not familiar with that, you need to get familiar with it. And, you know, having those resources. And, you know, the other thing that I think has made a huge, huge impact on my business, not only being part of a team, being a part of the right team. You know, personally, I think the Funk Collection is just the be all end all, but the tools that we've got and having Follow-Up Boss as a tool with, you know, with the bomb and tasks and ways to sort and help you to remember everybody that you need to contact. And, you know, no different than, you know, a friend of mine, their daughter and son-in-law are looking for a house, and I've, you know, met them at different functions. They're in my database now, reached out and said they wanted to buy a house. I still have to do ticklers because they're one of many people looking to purchase. And that way, when you've got a good CRM system, you don't drop the ball on anybody.
I don't know how we're in 2021 now, days away, and I just feel bad. There are so many in the industry who aren't leveraging a CRM. You mentioned Follow-Up Boss. Obviously, we've been with Follow-Up Boss for over 4 years now. It's one of the key differentiators in our business. Love them. The reality, though, is that depending on where an agent is in their business, there are many different CRMs. And the point is that you leverage it, because it's time to treat your business like a business.
Yes.
Treat your business like a business. Managing your customers in this thing,
don't work.
You need a CRM. So for our agent friends that are watching, oh, and by the way, Heidi Foster, she just said, thanks for the info on the postcards through FA Print available. Yeah, so Heidi Foster has changed our world. When Jeff and I first, all of our print needs, we go through FA Print, and oh my goodness, like I think we're saving almost 40%. Look at you. You're like on demand over there. You got it ready to go.
I got all my stuff right here. I'm organized. You know,
hi, Cody. I see you, Cody.
Hey, Cody. You know, the other thing is too, is that, you know, agents that, again, don't treat this like a business, that are part-time and don't even pick up their phone and return phone calls, major peeve of mine. You've got to set up your office. You've got to set up your work environment. And, you know, I have got such an awesome office. You know, I've got a window, I've got my dogs, I've got everything around me, and it helps me to stay in focus every day. And you've got to have your tools next to you. You know, yes, I've got 4 sticky notes right here of super important things that my Renee-isms have taught me to remember. Renee is the best fluent wordsmith I have ever met in my life. I call them Renee-isms. So she has taught me so much with her Renee-isms. And
you crack me up. It's a collaborative effort.
It's the truth. It's helped us know how to better communicate and help people. And I think not only does our knowledge of our industry and what we do benefit our buyers and sellers, but also knowing how to ask them the right questions and how to word those questions. Because this is, you know, sometimes it's very foreign to them, or sometimes they're on 8 different websites and you've got to kind of pull them in to get them focused on what it is and understanding what they're looking for. And that's the biggest thing, is that people think that they're looking for one thing, but it may be another. And it's just because they haven't been educated on the market, or they haven't gone out and got a feel for things and, you know, how they look and how they feel. And, you've got to have your tools and your resources and your processes, and you got to know how to leverage. And I'll throw a plug out there really quick. I am looking for a part-time that can move into full-time assistant right now, so that I can better focus on my buyers and sellers versus what I call the paperwork stuff. I'm so much better working with people than I am doing paperwork.
Well, and that's actually a plug, but it's an important plug to make, is that, we have a lot of focus when we work together on scaled business plans, scaled business development. And I love even that we just finished our year-end one-on-ones. And in our year-end one-on-one, one of the things we talked about was, okay, Gretchen, you are facing this next phase, and the next phase is really exciting. You get to bring on a hire and bring on an assistant, which will give you leverage, help delegate, and help serve customers at a higher and different level, which is fantastic. Another notable thing, you had your highest price transaction in 2020 as well, which is amazing, because we're seeing your average sales price creep up quite significantly year over year. So love seeing that. Any thoughts you want to share on that?
Well, I call it my life-changing transaction, because of the fact that I was able to get into business with somebody because of doing my touches and doing my postcards. It was the postcard, I think, that reminded that person what I do. And that was what really made the difference. They were able to see how active I am. And, I had, yes, it was my highest transaction, being now that I'm focused on real estate full time, although it's not my highest transaction. Back when I was in Destin working with an agent there, we dealt in a lot of very high dollar transactions. And as a real estate coach and trainer and manager, I've worked with agents with a lot of high dollar transactions. But doing one myself, having the knowledge and the experience to do it, actually in my marketing, got the buyer as well. So I had both sides of the transaction. And from that, also met another individual who I'm listing a home in Keens that is very much high dollar. From that listing and the relationships and being knowledgeable and doing a lot of follow-up. And, that's the key, sending those emails, making those phone calls, and following up with people. And I think that, again, it's the difference between a part-time realtor and a full-time realtor who is really focused on the consumer and focused on helping them. And it's not about us, it's about them.
Oh my goodness. And speaking about not about us, about them, think about the meeting we even had this morning. We got together as a team and we were strategizing and looking at areas of improvement and areas of growth opportunity on how we can improve our service level, how we will improve our service level in 2021. And a lot of our conversation this morning was about the fact the consumer is more savvy, but also the reality is we as consumers have access to the data. So if we as agents think that setting up a customer on an automated anything, but oftentimes what agents will do is they set an automated saved search, right? But anything automated to the consumer, it is a fail if you think that is going to be what elevates you. And what I loved about our meeting this morning is we were coming together to collaborate and put those brains together on what are we doing to differentiate our service. Because when we have a customer knock on the door, whether it's on realtyinorlando.com or whatever door they knock on, that's the door knock saying, hi, this is an opportunity for you to earn the relationship to serve them. Mm-hmm. And I just love the collaboration that we have this morning with 100% focus to serve in 2021 at a higher level.
Yeah. It's our knowledge and leveraging our tools that we've got to help them. And yeah, you're completely right. It's not just setting them up on a search, because we know things that they don't know. We know neighborhoods that they may not be familiar with, and it's our job to educate them and, you know, share opportunities with them as often as we possibly can.
So I have kind of a two-part question. We have some agents watching who may feel that they don't know how to continue to build their sphere of influence or their network to generate business from those that already know, love, and trust them. And then we have some agents watching who, I sometimes hear this from agents, I don't have a sphere of influence. Oh, and I cringe a little bit because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun because I'm going to show you the way. But what are your thoughts on agents who either want to continue to build it and or are sitting in this moment going, I'm into 2021 and I just don't have a sphere to love on?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they do. And, you know, this is the question that I always ask agents. And that is, what is your job? And I hear so often, my job is to offer great customer service. My job is to help people find the house of their dreams. You know, all these different, I call them kind of the fuzzy things. And that's the fun part of my job. But my job is to prospect and find buyers and sellers. I am still running a business, but I'm an expert at what I do. And when you're trying to grow a business, it doesn't matter if it's a cleaning business or if it's a restaurant. You still have to find customers.
Yeah.
And you can find them everywhere. I started physical therapy a week ago because of a hurt arm. And at physical therapy, I already have one person's name, email address, and phone number that I just put into Follow Up Boss. And my physical therapist has been asking me a lot of real estate questions, so I'm getting close to getting all of her info. You know, we're solar bears. We go to solar bears. You know, I start talking to people before you know it. Man, I got my phone right there. I've got name, email, address. I mean, the whole shebang. Because I always say to them, hey, you know what? I got this great magazine I send out every month. Can we put you on my mailing list? And then I say, oh, you know what? Everybody loves to know what's going on in their own neighborhood. We've got this great market update once a month. It just comes to your email and tells you everything that is sold and gone pending and come active in your community, so you can keep an eye on what's going on in your neighborhood. Oh, and they think that's really cool. And the thing is that, yes, I use it as a tool to get information, but it is good information for them. So I'm not just giving them a bag of rocks. I'm giving them something that is good for them because they need to watch what's going on with the biggest and one of the biggest investments that they've invested in. And, you know, keeping in contact with them and letting them know that I am an expert and I do know what I'm doing. And that's the biggest thing, is that you've got to be confident. You've got to be an expert. And that comes from knowing title, mortgage, knowing what a gopher turtle is if you're working with land, and just being, you know what agents don't. It's so funny. I'll say to somebody that I'm coaching, I'm like, did you talk about gopher turtles? Where's the land located at? They're protected. They're like $3,500 per turtle.
You learned a lot about that when you built your house. I know. I've heard this story many
But I
times.
mean, the thing is there's so much that you have to know. And if you don't know it, you've got to get surrounded with people that can help you to learn. And I didn't know all this coming out of the box. I've learned from you and Jeff and many other people that I admire in our industry. Sean Frank has taught me a ton with Mainframe. I mean, awesome. And John Russell and a lot of other agents that I've worked around and been part of, even agents that I've helped grow from the beginning of them getting their license and grow. I've learned from them because they ask me questions and, you know, make me think about things that I hadn't been exposed to. So it's being in a tribe that is there to support you and help you grow, that you can call and say, what are they talking about? And that still happens to me. I'm like, I've never heard of this before, because you just don't learn all this out of the gate.
Well, and quite frankly, our industry is so dynamic. I mean, you've been in the business, can I say?
Oh, I've been in this industry over 30 years. So
yeah,
I've got a lot of
associate through 3 decades. You've seen so much. And even if you look at the collective knowledge on our team, the Funk Collection, it's interesting because you can be in the business forever and a day. But what is our goal? Our goal is to be stronger today than we were yesterday. Our goal is to learn something today we didn't know yesterday. And so it's not about, we don't have to have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I don't. Certainly not in 2020. I didn't have all the answers, and that was not a fun feeling. But what we do know is that we're surrounded by those who are willing, ready, and able to share in a collective, collaborative effort, which makes the train move faster and tremendously shortens the learning curve as a collective unit, which has been a life changer and a game changer for me. You teach me every single day.
And right back at you. You teach me every day. But, like one of my new mentees, Cody, he teaches me every day. And
Codester.
I love the Codester. But, it's just, you've got to be able to have people around you to support you. And that's why I tell them, I don't care what time it is, call me. If you've got a question, you're out showing, text me. And, it's getting the answers that people are looking for. And even the buyers and sellers don't expect you to know everything.
Mm-mm.
But you've got to have a good, firm, general knowledge. And again, that's why you've got to have people around you. And if you're a newer agent, take somebody with you to that listing appointment.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Partner with somebody on that listing. Because again, it's not about you. It is about them. 100%
what is best for the customer.
Exactly right. And if it means no commission, no money to bring home to my family, if that customer is taken care of and it's what's the best thing for them, then that's how it needs to be. Because I believe that when you give, it comes back.
It does. Abundance and the universe comes back. I just got goosebumps because it's true. You know what else is true? And I didn't know this until about 3.5 years ago, straight up, is that when you look at your professional development in business, I understood like the abundance and how you give back in personal and philanthropy roles and how that works. I didn't understand the more you collaborate in your business, inside the brokerage, outside the brokerage, right? It's about an industry uplifting. Not only does that uplift the industry and the individual, but it helps the consumer at a higher level, which improves the consumer's opinion of our industry. And that is what we love, right? Is that we can collaborate with all people. And you are a shining example of that, Gretchen Carlson. Every day, it's how you live and you work and you navigate. And it's just so great to be a part of your world.
Thank you. Well, my world is real estate, my family and real estate. And that's what I focus on. I get a little bit of flack sometimes. My daughter is like, she gets on me, Mom, you're always working. And, I'm like, yeah, I am, but there's people that need my help. And if they need help, I want to be there to help them. And sometimes I'm so grateful that I am the one that's helping them and they're not with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. Because, I get really, really attached to my buyers and sellers. There's just, I don't know, there's an emotion to it. It's a big deal for them. And I take it very personal and I'm very serious to make sure that they're protected and they're accomplishing their goals.
We see that in the way that you navigate and serve your business and your customers, that these are humans, right? I mean, and look at even in 2020, we made the conscientious shift to, we work with a lot of online leads. Mm-hmm. We made the conscientious shift as a team to stop calling it a lead. Can't stand that word. They're humans. They're humans on the other side of whatever device. And they're actually looking at the next place that they're going to build memories and their dreams of home ownership. And it should not be taken lightly. And we see the way you serve that is at the forefront of everything you do, which is another of your differentiators and why you see the success that you do.
Well, it's because I want to help them. It's not, my motivation is helping people. Yes, there's other rewards that you get from it, but when you go into it with being a servant leader to help lead them into finding what they want and being there to serve them. And I tell many of my buyers, yes, I'll go through what I need them to do for me, but I let them know I work for you. My job is to help you define what you're looking for. That's my job. So that's, I kind of joke with people sometimes that I've been told that I don't perfume the pig. And I think it was,
I learned that from you.
I think it was Heidi Foster actually with First American that said that. She goes, Gretchen does not perfume the pig. And that's because I would rather be honest with somebody and say, look, this is how it is. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you as it is, because if I agree that your house is worth $1 million and I put it on the market for that and it fails, I'm doing a disservice to you. I don't make the market. They don't make the market. My job is to know how to analyze the market and make a recommendation to them.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to tell them like it is.
I love that. And that's so incredibly important for both agents that represent buyers and sellers. I do find that even more important as an area of an improvement that's needed as an industry for listing agents. It seems to me it takes listing agents a while in the marketplace as a listing agent before they gain the confidence to tell the seller what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And it's tough. I raised my hand. I was that listing agent. If I look back in the earlier years as a listing agent and I look back at those, times you go to a listing appointment and you're sitting at that table, the proverbial table, right? And feeling like, oh my gosh, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. But in essence, by not telling them what they need to hear, you are not serving them at the highest level. And quite frankly, you are hurting their feelings because you have to tell them what they need to hear.
Right. But the thing is that when you educate them on the window of opportunity, I'm not going to say I haven't taken some overpriced listings. I've done it. I've done it kicking and screaming. And I've proven myself right every single solitary time.
Those few that you go through that you'll say, okay, sure, we'll do this for 2 weeks. Only to find out.
Yeah, it's not a good topic to get me on because the thing is that when you lose that window of opportunity, then whatever that house is worth, I've just lost even more money for them. And they just don't always understand that.
Well, can we come back another time? Because you are right. Like that's a lot to unpack and peel back layers. I think we should come back for another video and talk about listing strategies and how you're earning those listings, because you've definitely, oh my goodness, what you've taught Jeff and I a ton in your listing presentations and the way that you are serving your sellers. I'd love for you to come back and talk about that.
It's all just about not perfuming the pig. And I don't take a listing just to have a listing. I want to.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is. It's business decision for two parties. And when you go in as a listing agent and you manage that expectation, this is a business decision for myself and a business decision for you, equal parts. And that when you know that as a listing agent, you won't let them down because you are solidly investing into the business that you have at hand. And that's the listing, marketing, and sale of the property.
It's something I'm very passionate about. And I just have a major peeve about taking photos with cell phones. I don't care if it's a 12 max. You don't take listing photos with an iPhone. You
chalk that up as CRM. Like what the HE double hockey sticks are we in 2021 still talking about this in our industry?
Right. And if you're taking a listing at a minimum, you're spending at least $1,000, if not more. I mean, I've got one coming on that it's going to be well over $5,000 right out of the gate.
But it's an investment in your business.
Exactly.
It's an investment.
And
it's what's best for the customer.
Exactly. And that's when it's pricing it right that makes all the difference.
Well, drop a comment in for those watching and let us know. I want Gretchen to come back. Show Gretchen the love that she'll come back and she'll talk about her listing strategies. And what we didn't talk about too, that I want to make sure we showcase is, in addition to how you've served your real estate customers, buyers, and sellers in 2020, you've done that all the while being a part of a team, collaborating in a team environment, and you are a certified mentor with eXp Realty, and you are serving your mentees and elevating their businesses. If you're looking for a mentor, Gretchen Carlson is your amazing leader. Connect with Gretchen because she's great. And Kyle Sue says, yes, she wants you to come back and talk about listings. See, there you go. Kyle says.
I'm happy too, because it's something that I love doing is listings. I don't know. I love buyers too. It's kind of hard to say. I love it all.
Oh, so we have Gretchen and Renee are always awesome to learn from. Oh, thank you for sharing. Did you see Christian said, great job. Can't wait for the next. That's it. It's in. Right now, we're going to get a date set. You're coming back. I'm glad to have you back on camera. You are a wealth of knowledge. Oh, we even have Brian. Brian says, thanks, Gretchen, for all the good info. Brian from Inman. Thanks, Brian, for watching.
Thanks, Brian.
Gretchen, where can everybody find you? Give your contact information.
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Not so great on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. And you can always find me too at realtyinorlando.com. Just click on the teammate. Gretchen's right on there. I am very easy to find. Just know that I'm not the Gretchen Carlson from Fox News and Friends, the ex-Miss America. She's got my website. But if you type in Gretchen Carlson Real Estate, you can find me.
Gretchen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your amazing contribution. And I'm so incredibly excited and proud of you. Congratulations on 2020. And boy, oh boy, put your seatbelt on 2021.
Oh, it's coming because I'm getting an assistant.
Remember to reach out to Gretchen for those who may be interested, or who do you know that might be looking for a role, because Gretchen's hiring.
It's the best way I can find to clone myself.
That's right.
Find somebody who is really good at what I'm not good at.
All right, Gretchen Carlson, we adore you. Make it a great day. Bye, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll let you know as soon as Gretchen's coming back. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.